we've covered so much today. I know there's one more topic that we want to talk about, and that's the Reptile Preservation Party. So let's wrap up on that if you don't mind.
Yeah, so part of our mission is that whole aspect of not just having the bumper sticker, what is it, captive for commercialization or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And that was part of what we really wanted to say, hey, we don't have a product or anything, but we can do something to physically affect the wild population. So we started a fundraiser last year. We called it Abroni Ales. I've got my awesome Abroni Ales glass from the event.
Awesome.
It was the first one. It was a trial run. It was difficult because it was times of COVID. So the whole event was virtual, but we brought on a couple different speakers to talk about Abronia, talk about them in the wild, captive husbandry. I spoke about Abronia Alliance and kind of what our mission was. And we just had a good time. It wasn't a huge turnout. We're not talking hundreds of people, but it was, I think, 30 or so people that really cared or were interested in Abronia. And we raised, with the ticket sales and then with the auction items, we raised just under $3,000 that we sent back to a reserve in Guatemala, Rancheros de Quetzal, that is actually a reserve protecting 2 species of quite rare Abronia. So that was a huge aspect of not only just saying, hey, we're donating this back into conservation, but being very upfront with exactly where the money was going. 100% of the profit went back into it, and saying what it actually was doing. That reserve was hit very hard by COVID times because they were built really on a lot of tourism money, and they were close to shutting down, which if they would have shut down, they would have been sold off to a logging company. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but that is one of the biggest trades down there, and they've got a lot of forest. Those species, along with many other species, most likely would have been wiped out from that area. So that $3,000, even though it doesn't sound like a lot, it made a huge difference to them. So this year, we are bringing it back. It's no longer branded as Abroni Ales, even though I love that name. But Reptile Preservation Party is kind of our next level fundraiser. It's going to be very similar to Abroni Ales, but we're actually offering both a virtual and in-person aspect. So Reptile Preservation Institute, one of our Abroni Alliance partners, they're kind of our conservation partner. They're going to be hosting it at their facility down in Melrose, Florida. It is August 19th. It's going to be from 4 p.m. technically till 10 p.m., but kind of goes till whenever the lights go out and everybody falls asleep or heads home. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those long nights.
And how do people, if they want to go, what do they do?
So that's a great question. So the best way, I can give the website to go to purchase tickets, but a really easy way is to go to either the Abroni Alliance Instagram page, the Abroni Alliance Facebook page, both just at Abroni Alliance, or Reptile Preservation Institute Instagram, and just Instagram page. All have the links to get to the tickets, but it is reptile preservation institute.ticketleap.com. But unless you want to punch all that in, just go to our social media. The links are right in the bios, and then that'll take you to the page where you can purchase tickets, learn a little bit more about the event. What it's going to be structured around is us bringing in speakers to talk about different species. We have Ari Flegel coming in to talk about some of the stuff he's done with Bull and I, as well as adventuring through West Papa. He's going to give us a teaser of their new facility, Replandia, Reptile Lagoon. We have Stephen Tillis talking about nidovirus research. And then we've got a couple other speakers that we're still working on, as well as Cody and Pia are going to be talking about Reptile Preservation Institute. I'll be talking about Abroni Alliance. We've got a couple other people still filtering in, but the idea is that it's almost a fun conference style that you can come and learn about a lot of diverse topics and cloud forest species. The goal is to kind of touch on husbandry, wild conservation, field work, and then research. So we're hoping to grow it bigger and better every year. This is going to be our first in-person event. So it's still kind of new, and we're figuring out details as we go, but we really hope to be able to elevate this fundraiser to something like Carpet Fest or one of the big reptile expos or Croc Fest, and really raise a ton of money that we can then put back into cloud forest habitat restoration or research happening in those habitats.
That is amazing. So to the listeners, I encourage everybody, especially because it's virtual. You know, most people aren't going to be around that area, but if you're across the world or not close to there, I'll be going. I'll buy a ticket. I hope that many of the listeners do as well, because it sounds incredible. There's going to be tons of learning. Plus, you get to say you were part of the second one ever, and it's going to be just like, who knows how big it's going to get. So if you want to say you were part of the very second one, then you got to sign up. You got to go.
Yeah, and I mean, we're going to have some amazing people talking, as well as just the ability to contribute to that monetary game that's going in. We're going to have live auctions going. We've got a bunch of cool items already coming in. We've got sponsors already backing the event, which got to give a shout out to those. We've got our platinum sponsors, Sea Serpent Reptiles, and then Cold Blooded Cafe. Both have been awesome as our platinum sponsors. Then we've got our gold sponsor, Wiregrass Exotics. And then we have a silver sponsor, Ariel Max Arboreals. And we're always looking for more people to help sponsor the event. All that money is going to go right back into the pot that we donate into research and then habitat restoration, as well as ticket sales. We're going to have a bunch of swag with tickets in person, and then there's a virtual package. They can get a custom glass with our reptile preservation logo on it. And then we're even probably going to do t-shirts if we sell enough of the merch tickets. So it's just going to be a fun time. The virtual ticket's only $17. It's not an expensive event, but all that money is going to go right back into that conservation. And I think it's just going to be opportunity to get some really in-depth understanding of some of the species that are pretty obscure and there's not a lot of information out there on them.
I'm so excited for that. And, you know, everybody listening to this, whether they keep a brony or not, most probably don't. Everybody here is a reptile fan, and I don't think anybody's going to turn up the opportunity to go listen to brilliant people speak about reptiles, because, and I always say, like, you know, you can learn about a species in depth, and that knowledge carries over to whatever species you keep at home too. There's so much translation that happens. So I'm so excited about this. I'm also just, this whole conversation is leaving me so uplifted, and I feel good about the hobby right now. Sometimes you'll be on Facebook and you'll feel bad about it. There's all sorts of weird news stories going on, but right now I feel like herpetoculture is headed in the right directions. I'm super grateful for this conversation. Is there anything else that we left out that you wanted to mention?